Hey y'all, hey, how you doing today? I have a very special guest. I'm here with Mr. Mike Nellis, who is the founder of Authentic, a digital democratic fundraising apparatus that has raised over $1 billion for some of your favorite Democrats. Hey Mike, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. Now, we're talking to him about a multitude of things, but most importantly, there is an executive order, of course. If it's Trump and it's a day that ends in day, there's an executive order coming down the pike. He is trying to sign an executive order to get rid of ActBlue, which is a digital fundraising apparatus also to raise money for Democrats. He's trying to shut it down. He's trying to punish Democrats. So I wanted to ask you, Mike, first of all, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you think about this executive order coming down the pike.
Yeah. So just to quickly introduce myself for folks, I've been a Democratic strategist for 2 decades now. Most of my work has been focused on building, large-scale online fundraising programs for candidates like Kamala Harris and Adam Schiff and Lauren Underwood and Gretchen Whitmer and Cory Booker and a whole bunch of others. I could be here all day naming some of the ones that I've gotten to build, and that feels like I'm just bragging at a certain point. But I've gotten to work with some, right. I've gotten to work with some amazing people, but what the Republicans are doing right now, I want to give people the context on this, is that we have a tool called ActBlue in the space. It's a payment processor. Like if you've made a donation to a Democratic candidate or cause, most likely it's come through ActBlue. And they help us process our donations efficiently and effectively. A lot of people, I imagine people who are watching this, have saved their credit card information through ActBlue to make it easier for us to get donations for our candidates. And what Republicans are doing is they're abusing the power of the federal government to try to attack ActBlue. Elon Musk, Charlie Kirk, a bunch of other MAGA guys, including Donald Trump, have been going after ActBlue for the last several weeks, trying to lay the foundation of ridiculous claims, saying that they've committed fraud, that they're supporting terrorism, things that are wildly untrue, not supported by any evidence. And what it really is Donald Trump trying to go after his political enemies in the same way he's gone after, law firms and the media, and frankly, like political strategists like me. Like he's come after people like me in the past, and it's deeply problematic. And they're trying to destroy the infrastructure of the Democratic Party to make it easier for them to win the next election.
Wow. So tell me why digital platforms like ActBlue and like yours are so vital and important, not just to the Democrats and their success, but to everyday people like me.
Yeah. So from my perspective on this is we're living in a time of gross excess and corruption in our government where Citizens United, which was a Supreme Court ruling, and other rulings that have come down have made it really easy for a small handful of corrupt billionaires to buy elections. What small dollar grassroots contributions through ActBlue, and then my firm Authentic is the one that builds like the apparatuses and runs like the email programs, the text messaging programs does, is it gives Democratic candidates and cause an opportunity to raise money in a way that is equal, if not sometimes more, than what large, corrupt billionaires can give to these candidates. So like if one billionaire can give $150 million to one candidate, like what Elon Musk spent, $26 million in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race just a few weeks ago. If he can do that, we've got to find a way to match it, because while we have Democratic billionaires who do spend that money, we have less of them who don't spend as much money. And for some Democratic campaigns, they're raising 30, 40, 50, 60% of their money online. And I would put it to you this way. The only reason, and I was on Bernie Sanders' 2016 presidential campaign, the only reason that Bernie Sanders was able to raise the money to compete with Hillary Clinton and elevate himself to build a national apparatus is because he had a lot of people who were willing to give him money in an amount. His average donation was $27. Wow. If you take away ActBlue and you take away the other pieces of infrastructure that the Democratic Party has, we're now at a significant financial advantage. And that's why the Republicans are doing it. It's really a two-pronged approach for them. One, Donald Trump has never been politically weaker than he is right now.
Right now.
His approval rating is shooting straight down, particularly with young people, but basically across the board. I've seen him underwater on the economy, on tariffs, on cost of living. I've seen him underwater on immigration, which frankly is his bread and butter issue.
Right.
That he's lost the plot on this because he's not delivering what the American people expected him to. So he's politically weak. And now he's going after our infrastructure so that we'll be politically weak at a time when we're the most politically strong of the last at least 80 days, right? And then the second thing is Donald Trump has more billionaires in his cabinet than any other president in the history of this country. Wow. I believe that this is the most corrupt administration in American history. Wow. And when you look at what they're doing, it's almost exclusively about putting money in their pocket and taking it out of your pocket. They want to raise your taxes so that Elon Musk can get more government contracts.
Right.
That's incredibly messed up. Now they want to take away your political power and ability to engage in the system through the tools that we have built so that it's easier for billionaires to buy more elections. That doesn't work. And that's why we have to fight this. And that's why I'm speaking out today.
I'm so glad that you said that. Everything with student loans going on, they're going after people in default because they have to fund their tax cuts, right? I remember when President Obama first ran, and I know you're familiar with this campaign, small donations, $5, $7, really made a difference. And a lot of times people don't think that their voice matters. A lot of people think that their vote doesn't count. I think it does, whether you vote with your pocket or whether you go to the ballot box and you vote. What can you say to people, just regular everyday people, to let them know that their $5, $7, $20 donation, it matters, especially with candidates that they care about, with issues that they care about?
What I can tell you is that it really does matter. And I get how frustrating it is. I'm a frustrated Democrat. Like I joke a lot. People will be like, the Democratic Party's approval rating is 29%. And I go, I know, I answered the poll. Like I'm with you some days, right? So I'm with you and I'm in the thick of it, right? But I think that I have two options in this country of which political party I'm going to stand with. And one wants to burn books and tell people who they can or cannot marry and wants to help corrupt billionaires create an oligarchy in this country. And the other one, while imperfect, is at least generally broadly trying to help people improve their lives, buy a house, start a family, get a good paying job, retire with dignity. And they're very imperfect. They drive me nuts. But I think they're a better place to be in. And look, what I'll say is the great equalizer of the Citizens United era, which has been polluted with insane super PAC spending on the Republican side, has been small dollar donations. And the $1 billion that me and my team have raised for candidates has made a difference in critical House races. It's made a difference in critical Senate races. It's made a difference in presidential races. Like, in my opinion, Barack Obama might not win that close primary with Hillary Clinton, which was like 20 years ago now.
Right.
To date myself, I was telling you on the stream before we started, like I dropped out of college to go work for Barack Obama, and work implies I was being paid because I was not.
Right.
Right. But Barack Obama is now able to raise, I don't know what percentage it was of his total donations, but it was a significant chunk. And that becomes an equalizer to an establishment candidate like Hillary Clinton and gives an opportunity to create history and change. Bernie Sanders is the same thing in 2016. I'll also say to Donald Trump, it's a big part of the reason he won the 2016 primary on the Republican side. But they're not targeting the infrastructure on the Republican side. They're only targeting the Democratic infrastructure. Because Trump still wants money from small dollar donors. So it does matter. And on the Democratic side, it matters so much more because we don't have as much big corporate money as the rest of them. We have our corporate money. Again, we're imperfect. We're a coalition that's trying to bring together a lot of different causes across the country to stop this fascism, to help improve people's lives. And at times we suck. I'm the first person to tell you that. But your donation really does matter. And I've seen it make a difference. And the further down the ballot you get too, when you're a state Senate candidate, or you're running for alderman here in Chicago where I live, or you're serving on like the local school council. I serve on the school council down the street. I didn't take any donations for it. I self-funded it because it just wasn't a lot of money. I didn't really want to take anything from anybody. But like, if I was running for something, I know I could probably raise a couple $1,000s from my friends in $15, $25, $30 increments. That's the way democracy should work. It's an opportunity for all of us to come together, to put our money in the middle and say, this is the direction we want to take our community. And what Republicans want to do is destroy our ability to do that because it allows corrupt billionaires to continue to pollute our democracy.
Exactly. Well said, Mike. Last question. I'm not exactly sure how effective executive orders are or how they work, but if he's successful with the executive order against ActBlue, what does that mean for the future of online fundraising in the digital space and for you?
So until we see what the executive order says, we won't know. And I'm not a lawyer, so I want to be super clear about that. My assumption here, knowing Donald Trump's MO, is that it'll probably be a lazily written executive order that's politically motivated. And it'll probably just get tangled up in the courts for a while. But ultimately, I think he probably loses that fight. But again, I'm not a lawyer. There's a lot. My mother really wanted me to be a lawyer. Instead, I turned out to be a Democrat. So I'm a huge disappointment.
Huge disappointment.
My parents are big Republicans. But what will happen if they're successful in, even for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, like shutting down or significantly disrupting ActBlue, is it means that some of your favorite Democratic candidates like AOC and Bernie Sanders and Cory Booker and Gretchen Whitmer are not going to be able to raise the money that they need from small dollar donors, which again, for some of them is the majority of what they raise.
Right.
For Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it is the majority of the money that she raises.
Wow.
Otherwise, a bartender from New York cannot be elected to the United States
Cannot go
Congress.
to Congress, right?
Like, you'd have to know somebody or be the daughter of somebody to do that. And like I don't have, rich parents. My dad was a government worker, and I don't know AOC's parent situation, but like I don't believe they were wealthy either, because she was a bartender.
Right.
So it gives you, I would just worry that what would happen is, at a time when we need the Democratic Party to get back in touch with its roots, with the working class, to get back in touch with how do we help people who are struggling, and stop lecturing them about how great their lives are, but actually start delivering so we can build roads and bridges, improve our schools, make sure people have good health care, make sure that, kids aren't worried about like school shootings, like the things that I care about. I've got a 6-year-old boy. I worry about it all the time.
Yep.
If we can't elect a representative body that is closer to the people, as imperfect again as it is, then we're going to get further away. And so now we've got two choices between very corporate interests and two choices between even more billionaires who are polluting both political parties. So the Democratic Party becomes a hollowed version of what I think it can be.
Right.
Can't be connected to regular people.
Right.
And that's a huge problem. And then, because we're going to have to replace 40 to 60% of our funding if they were to shut it down. Now, we'll be able to go to other donation processors. So I want to be clear, it's not like poof, it's all gone.
Right.
But ActBlue has created such a powerful toolkit. And because they've saved the payment information of so many people who have donated, who have agreed to do that, like Amazon one-click, the conversion rate is so much higher. So the disruption in our ability to fundraise is a clear attack at our ability to win the midterms in 2026 and the elections in 2025, because we've got 2 governor's races in November. We have a bunch of local legislative elections. We have a bunch of special elections. So
midterms, yes.
Yeah.
Got to get out and vote, get out and vote, get out and vote. Wow.
Yep.
So illuminating. Thank you so much, Mike Nellis, founder of Authentic. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Laverne.